Well, it's February 15th, and some of us are just relieved. Are you relieved today? Are you just happy to get past February 14th? Well, February 14th is a day that, well, it's filled with all kinds of emotions, and people call it Love Day. I mean, we know it as Valentine's Day. And as I've been thinking about love this week, because we've been talking about relational health, as I've been thinking about love, I've been thinking about kind of how we twisted it a little bit, how we've turned it a little bit into something that it's maybe not necessarily meant to be. And so that's why some people have mixed emotions with February 14th, right? It's interesting. Valentine's Day is named after an individual who was a martyr, who gave up something, who sacrificed. And as I've been thinking about love, and that's what I want to talk about today, just briefly. I know some of you are like, enough is enough. Because some of us really struggle with Valentine's Day for all kinds of reasons. We miss people, we've lost people, we don't have something, there's unmet expectations. But think with me just for a moment about what love requires. And love requires something. It actually requires sacrifice. As I was thinking about love, as I was yesterday, I was presented, I came across, I ran into some people, I saw some comments, and I thought, maybe we've got it a little bit wrong. Maybe we need to be celebrating. Well, we need to be celebrating some wonderful things that we see and relationships that we have, but what if everything isn't wonderful? Well, we need to celebrate the sacrifice that is love. You see, love requires sacrifice. Love requires sacrifice, and true love is sacrificial. And even as we think about, and if you want to do some history, go for it. I'm not going to get into that today, but if you want to kind of look into where Valentine's Day got its name, you'll find sacrifice. You see, true love requires sacrifice. And interestingly enough, the person that walked this earth that exemplifies true love offered great sacrifice. And friends, he was single. Jesus, of course. And so, although we emphasize, and I think it's important to celebrate relationships, and I think it's important to celebrate romantic love, but we might get so caught up in that we forget that true love requires sacrifice, and anyone and everyone can love truly as they are willing to sacrifice and give up for another. If they're willing to do unto others as they would have done unto them, if they were willing to love sacrificially. And I was reminded yesterday of all the different ways that people can love sacrificially. And I was reminded that single parents love with great passion and do so in a sacrificial way. I was reminded of how those who are caring for loved ones, who may be they may not be the loved one that they are used to having. But I'm so blessed to have seen over the last few days a number of examples of sacrificial love. And it comes in the everyday things of life. Big days are great. Big celebrations are great. Flowers are great. You can probably get them today for 50% off, by the way. But it's the little things. It's the everyday things. True love requires sacrifice. And it's in the everyday things of life. And just respect today to all those who are loving sacrificially wherever they're at, whatever the circumstances are, that they're loving. You see, Ephesians chapter 5 tells us about true love. In fact, it encourages us to walk in the way of love. That's not always easy. In fact, it's the narrow way. Loving each other is not always easy. But Ephesians 5 says, walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us. And then it goes on to talk about how Christ loved us and gave his life, was willing to sacrifice for us. And so as we continue to think about love, yeah, it's past, we're on the other side of the love day. But as we continue to think about love, as we continue to seek to walk in the way of love, may we understand that it requires sacrifice. And may we recognize that everybody has within them the capacity to love, to give up something for the sake of another. And may we also recognize the amazing examples of love that we see around us. Maybe it looks a little unconventional, but may we recognize that. And may we walk in the way of love as Jesus loved us. May we love others. That's what I'm thinking about today. That's what I want to encourage you with today. May you know the love of Jesus, and may you walk in the way of love that is the sacrificial love of Christ. God bless you. Peace be with you. Have a great Good News Wednesday.
Seasons changing, you remain the same. Yeah, oh God, from age to age, though the earth may pass away, your word remains the same. Yeah, your history can prove there's nothing you can do. You're faithful and true.